Welcome, friends. Liam Murphy back today to rip a couple drafts in Underdog Fantasy's new contest that they just dropped. It seems like they dropped the mini Schnauzer 4, 5, and 3. Now, normal drafts have 30-second pick clocks, which are fine. But unfortunately, Underdog, for whatever reason, does not force people who auto draft consecutive picks to go on auto draft. And that ends up adding a lot of your time, adds days to your life waiting for people to select picks if you have some auto drafters. So the Mini Schnauzer 3 has got 10-second clocks. The Mini Schnauzer 4, 15. The Mini Schnauzer 5, 20-second. We're going to be ripping the 10-second one today. Let's take a peek at the structure here. 10K to first. $3 entry. 20 entry max. The groups are fast drafts only, which is key. Let's see. It is... Is it 2 out of 12? It's not really telling me that. Well, it's 12, 10, 8. Okay, here we go. 2 out of 12, so normal. 2 out of 10, so that's actually pretty good. 1/5 out of 10. And then 2 out of 8. And again, that's pretty good. And then a 310 person final. Pretty big final size, in my opinion. Could have gone a little bit harsher on the advance rates, but a min cash is going to give you $60, so you will be profiting if you make the finals here. Let's rip them. Now, God, big first world problem, but annoying when we got to enter on the phone. Gonna be ripping some Schnauzers 3s. It's not clear to me if I'm going to have new ranking systems for these. Of course, these are going to be filled in moments. So ideally, it will just import. Yeah, it looks like it is importing my rankings. We're in this bad boy. Now, some people know this, that I play chess. I play a lot of blitz chess. I play bullet chess. In bullet chess, you have to play a full chess game in usually 1 minute or less. So this is going to be light work. I think this is right up my alley. The fast picks are going to be good for me. They might put some pressure on some of my opponents. Of course, I've done hundreds of drafts already this year, so I'm primed and ready. So I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, really happy that Underdog's experimenting with these. I think a lot of people have wanted a faster clock contest. I've heard some people ask for things like, oh, could we get, you just have 2 minutes for your whole clock, and however many seconds you pick, you just only have 2 minutes, and after that you go to auto draft. I think the problem with that is a lot of people just select fast, and then you'd be left waiting for people to burn through their full clock in round 18 when they're auto drafting. So I don't like that model as much. But yeah, we're ripping it now. We'll probably do at least 2 drafts today. It is Friday. For those who subscribe to beatbestball.com, my best ball site, where you can learn from a 3-time best ball champion. Thought I'd have my article done today, but I have it written. I just need to build it on the site. So gonna build it this weekend, I think. So gonna release the article either Saturday, Sunday, Monday by the latest. And it's diving into some late round guys who I think you should gamble on occasionally. Let's go Puka. Obviously, with me streaming, not going to have a ton of time to pick or talk about my picks. Jordan, you just left a comment on my one video, and I asked you what you meant by this. You said Underdog in the thumbnail, that's nasty work. And I said, what does this mean? So I didn't even have Underdog in that thumbnail. But anyways, this is fun. Wow, Izzy over here, Auto Draft Nation, taking his full 10 seconds. And yeah, look, guys, if you're someone who slow drafts, stay out of these lobbies. They're not for you. Okay? Go take a week on your on each pick in your slow drafts. This ain't for you. Brandon Ayuk, let's do it. Any thoughts on a random last round flyer on Sean Tucker? Not a guy on my radar. Not a super valuable offense. Likely going to be the RB3. Did nothing last year. So, no. Did not make the cut for the article. Doesn't mean he can't, is it possible he's ahead of Bucky Irving? Sure. It's possible. But if two teams are bad in auto draft, does that take care of the rake? Good question, Cal. I've often thought that even if one person, so to explain that, what he's asking here is you got 12 people in a draft, right? Only 2 make the next round. If you make the next round, you're almost always profiting. Now, profiting is not the singular goal because the min cash, when you play tournaments, is losing money in the long run if your goal is to min cash, because you're just not going to min cash as much as you think, right? All of your, how do you actually realize your profit is by running deep in the tournament, aka making the finals, and more importantly, doing well when you do make the finals. Not finishing last, finishing first. So if you have, let's do Zay. I was tempted to do Josh there too, because I'm thinking that some people are going to start freaking out about quarter packs occasionally. But anyways, back to Cal's question here. I think that even if one person is drafting poorly, which this is like, I put a tweet out yesterday. I've been doing some 5-5-5 drafts over on DraftKings, which I won 2 years ago. And yesterday I was doing 5-5-5, and I saw Brendan Rice go in the 12th and Chase Claypool go in the 13th round. And this nerd was like, and you don't win by going chalk ADP every time. You win by hitting on upside variability. These are, first of all, I simply reported facts. There was not me saying these drafts are super soft. These people are terrible. I reported some facts. Let's go Kincaid in our first schnauz. And yeah, I mean, look, I personally think these are bad picks, but look, I mean, these guys are drafting in the 5-5-5. Maybe they have more info. Some of them are big DFS guys. Whatever. Obviously, there's ways where Brendan Rice and Claypool can hit this year. They both are on good offenses. They're both not facing the stiffest target competition in the world. They're not my preferred gambles at this time of the year when we have minimal news, and I don't think it's that likely that they are top 3, let alone top 4 wide receivers on their own team. But if you have at least one person actively drafting bad, which in the 5-5-5 you'll get some auto drafters sometimes, so this kind of like is relevant. I think that alone is taking care of your rake, right? Because the site rakes the contest, let's just say 10%. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. So, if you have one person drafting poorly, okay, it's not quite 10%. That's only 8%, but it's close enough. It's close enough to the rake where I would say your rake is being covered if you think you are building good teams and you have someone else actively building poorly. But that's just my opinion on that. Let's do James Cook. Potentially quite undervalued. Similar prop lines to guys that go much higher than him. I like Ray Davis as a flyer, but possible he's a nothing. One of the leader in scrimmage yards last year. Buffalo could be run heavy again with Joe Brady. And I think Cook and Kincaid is a fun way to play the Bills. So yeah, that's a little more in depth than I wouldn't say most people who are drafting best ball even consider the rate, myself included sometimes. But yeah, in your higher stakes drafts, if you see like the same person in there often and you think they're either building poorly structurally, like I'm going to tell you right now, in the DK 555s, they do not act like the underdog lobbies in the sense that they're just way more running back heavy. Let's go Worthy. Not a guy I get a lot. Mahomes does fall sometimes. Oh, no. Mahomes went. This guy's tight. But Worthy, I don't get him a bunch because I prefer betting on Rome. But super high upside, obviously, if he does hit. So, yeah, just to close Kyle's question. If one person's drafting bad, rake's covered. If two people are drafting bad, you're almost default plus EV if you were building well. Raphael, are you talking about drafting on Underdog or DraftKings? I think on DraftKings in general, and I write about this, you can afford to take running backs earlier because the market is not as extreme at wide receiver prices, where I talked about this yesterday, but when you can get Brian Thomas Jr. in the 8th round instead of the 6th round, that makes taking a running back early a little bit easier. Is Bully QB and Bully tight end on the same team a bad draft? That's probably a bit extreme. Let's go Keon Coleman. Take the 3 most likely guys to be big hits in Buffalo. If by Bully tight end and Bully QB, you mean going Laporta and Kelsey, and then Mahomes and Richardson, yeah, that's not my preferred way to build. But I think you can get away with it occasionally. And I think, like if the opportunity was there, would I build a Kelsey plus Mahomes and also a Kincaid and Allen team on the same team? I think I would do that if I could make it work. I wouldn't really want to sacrifice a player up here, but very rarely you can do that. But in general, yes, it's getting too cute. Trey Benson, a mega reach here. Tasteless Grits, not one for the ADPs. Yeah, I like Zach Moss. I really like Zach Moss's Week 17 matchup against the Broncos. They also play Tennessee and Cleveland. It's a spot I mix. Zamir White is the most athletic of the squad, but probably plays on the worst team. Yeah, when a guy's taking Najee at pick 63, this man doesn't care about your ADPs. I've been seeing like an Ingram and Kincaid teams with something like Mahomes and Burrow. Well, okay, so like in my opinion, Joe Burrow fits the bill as an elite swing, but usually you can get him in the 90s, so it's like you're not paying an elite cost on it, right? So really, if you're getting Joe Burrow as your QB2 in the hundreds or 90s, you have 2 elite QBs. You're just not paying elite prices on it, That's my opinion on that. So we got Naked Stroud, not good. We got Joe Burrow around above ADP. You can get him in the 90s, not good. Yeah, let's do Njoku as our second tight end. Not a guy I draft a lot, but definitely could be a solid hit. Just needed to pay off in the playoff weeks. Plays his Miami matchup, week 17, I quite like. I would not recommend punting wide receiver. Ever. You can do it on occasion, but just think, from day one, this is not something I needed anyone to tell me. This was just me thinking intuitively and logically. I looked at how many positions you start each week. I knew you started 3 wide receivers. Let's go Purdy here. Just want to secure a quarterback. Stacked. He's at ADP, goes with Ayuk. But you start 3 wide receivers every single week. You have to do that. So, if you are filling in your wide receiver 2 and 3 with only 5 points, you're going to get buried by a team. It's just not enough to win. And of course, wide receiver is, compared to running back, is a more talent-based position. Running backs, the starter gets hurt, the backup will fall into volume. They will be solid then. Not the same thing at wide receiver. Tyreek Hill gets hurt, you don't just produce another Tyreek Hill. It's not the same thing. And yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying you can't build sometimes I'll build 3 wide receiver starts and then hit the other positions, like go a bunch of running backs. That's not the same thing as not to single him out, but what Hit Him with the Gritty does, where he goes 1 wide receiver and then tries to hit a bunch of scrubs, which are bad bets. That's not quite the same thing. Just barely got Elliott in there. If your wide receiver 2 is Darnell Mooney, probably not going to work out well. Chase Claypool, a bad bet in 2024. I don't know if you're joking or not, but I mean, look, it is possible. He got buzz in the spring. There's no denying that, but it was on the second team. He has 25K in guarantees. So he's really not worth talking about to me until we get to training camp. All right. Let's just figure out a stack with Herbert later. I still like Herbert as an upside swing. Yes, he doesn't stack with anyone currently. Hopefully I can land like a DJ Chark or something. But after him and Trevor, huge drop off at QB, where I'm just willing to lock in the points of a Herbert, who is a huge upside swing still, even attached to this maybe run first Chargers offense. I like to fill my starting lineup as fast as possible. I've always thought that is a viable building way, where you go I think a better way to do it is fill your starting lineup, but go cover the flex both at running back and wide receiver. So you build 4 wide receivers you feel are good, 3 running backs you feel are good, to hit your starting lineup. 1's a flex. You get a tight end you feel good about. You get a quarterback you feel good about. And then you add depth. I think that's always a viable way to build every single year. I take best player available if it doesn't force position. That's far, anyone that has rankings where it's this player is unquestionably better than the guy 1 pick after him. is not doing that quite correctly, in my opinion. Jalen Wright, an upside swing. Where, like I view more players in tiers. So, like, for example, there, Jalen Wright and Ray Davis, I have in the same tier. Do I want to always take Jalen Wright instead of Ray Davis because I have him ranked one pick ahead of Ray Davis? No, I want to mix there. Do you enjoy Irish whiskey when you visit? I'm going to Ireland for the first time this upcoming weekend. Going to be gone for 2 weeks. We'll still be streaming, not as much, but probably try to get 3 streams in over the 2 weeks. Still going to be writing. And yeah, I'm not a big drinker in general. I do drink beer a little bit more. Let's go Luke McCaffrey this time. Yes, you can get him way later, but I kind of like him as a pick. And I'm tired of taking Malachi Corley every time. Going to Vegas this year for the main event? No, I'm not. I bought because I'm going to Ireland. I just can't justify taking that much time off. So I went and played a tournament a couple weeks ago, and I bought 10% of a friend. So we got swept that way. Lots of old people vaping when I was in Dublin. Thought it was funny AF. That is funny AF. My girlfriend vapes. I'm trying to get her to quit, but maybe she'll appreciate that. I always like to call vapors cloud chasers and other cringy things. She hates it. All right. So I think we're done at QB here. I think we're done at tight end. So that means for our next 3 picks, I think I'll throw a run into running back and 2 into wide receiver, building a 2, 6, 8, 2. Let's just reach and grab DJ Chark here. The way I was drafting DJ Chark a lot 2 weeks ago. I'm not really anymore as much. And that's just kind of how I treat the late round picks. Like I give them each of them a different week. Where this week I'm kind of drafting other guys, but obviously going to grab him here to stack with Herbert. He's kind of nice, but he's a bit of a way to bet against Quentin Johnston. Still produced some spike weeks with Bryce Young as his QB. Never going to be a Puka Nacua type breakout, which Luke McCaffrey could, I guess. Not likely, but it's possible. But could be that solid Darius Slayton type of hit. Raphael says Jalen Wright is a stupid pick. It's betting on a third string running back. Example, betting on Kenny McIntosh to get volume. Okay, so let's talk about that. But clearly, Raphael, you're a little bit newer to best ball. And I think the way you're thinking about it right now is he is third on the depth chart, unquestionable. Which, okay, maybe that's true. I would say right now he is. But we know that Miami has a super valuable running back room. Both Achane and Mostert approached 50 points last year and were smashes. Sure. Deontay Foreman, our last running back. And people who draft best ball over multiple seasons will know that chaos is inevitable. The only thing we know for sure is that chaos is going to occur. And so there are many, many ways where Jalen Wright can get there to me. Number one, Mostert gets hurt. Boom. Number two, Achane gets hurt. Boom. Number three, he's simply the goal line back because he's the biggest of the backs. Boom. Number four, he's really, really, really good. Mostert loses a step. He just outplays Mostert. Boom. So I don't disagree that it's possible he's a zero, as I would say many players are possibly a zero. Let's go Khalif Raymond, week 17 game stack. And I quite like this team. Brock and Herbert, James Cook, Zach Moss, Elliott, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen, Deontay Foreman, Puka Nacua, Ayuk, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Luke McCaffrey, DJ Chark, Khalif Raymond, Kincaid, and David Njoku. So, yeah, I mean, quite possible Jalen Wright's a zero. And that's why I initially had a guy like Ray Davis ranked ahead of him, who I think is far less likely to be a zero. But I thought about it a little bit more. I moved in one pick ahead just because I think the upside of Jalen Wright is quite literally league-winning upside and maybe tournament-winning upside. So I would not be fading Wright. But and I would not compare a team like Seattle, which to me has two clear. Pull the 106 for this one. Like Seattle has two clear 1s and 2s, and we don't have like a huge like Achane and Mostert both have a history of being injured. I mean, Achane weighs like 185 pounds or something, 189 pounds. Dude's small. So I would not compare it at all. Have fun in Ireland. My grandparents were big into genealogy in the New England area, tracking families back to Ireland and England. My grandmother wrote a book on genealogy for my family. I remember being interviewed at a young age. My mom's kind of like up taking that. So we're staying in the family home of our heritage. So it's going to be cool. Like, I think that stuff's kind of cool too. Chaos is the ladder. Yeah, it's going to be hard to go back from the 10 seconds to the 30 seconds. Like the 30-second ones, I have like legitimate downtime. Even these, you can see I'm like, oh, I'm on the clock? Sure, here's a pick. Chuba will get more volume than Wright. Maybe. Or maybe Jalen Brooks is just the clear RB1. Chuba is a RB2 who plays 15% of the snaps. And again, there is major upside for Jalen Wright. We like the Sun God. Sun God, part of my winning BBM2 team. Welcome to the squad. Like Raphael, we don't. I think you're not thinking about how valuable Miami's offense can be compared to the Panthers. Is Amon-Ra over Chase / Justin Jefferson crazy? No. In my next 555, if I pull the 104, I'm going to take Amon-Ra simply because I have a lot of Chase, I have a lot of Jefferson, and I don't have any Amon-Ra, and I don't want it to be that way. You think this tourney fills today? No, I don't. But this weekend, possible. Tyler says, just try to do multiple 10-second drafts at once. Do not recommend. I think I could do it. It takes dopamine out of you, and it wouldn't be the best streamed product because I wouldn't be able to interact with the chat as much. I literally did 20 DraftKings drafts on my phone like 4 to 5 times to max the DK Millie last year and still advanced 50 of my teams. Yeah, Nico and Ayuk are becoming my favorite picks in this round. You were a bit concerned it wouldn't make for good content? Yeah, brother. When you can play chess games in a full minute, this is no sweat. No, the drafting on the phone is horrendous. I had to do it that way on DraftKings because I couldn't make the make the screen small enough to see the draft boards on desktop. They should give you the let's go Metcalf this time. They should give you the ability to like sync an Apple Watch or whatever and have your heart rate display above your draft. And I'd be really curious. Like, I'm sure some people are absolutely like freaking out doing these. And I'm not gonna max these, by the way. I'm just doing it for the content right now, but my main focus is still the flagship ones. Has a zero running back build ever won Best Ball Mania? I don't think so. And if not, why do so many sharp drafters prefer it? Good question, Brad. No, to my knowledge, no. I guess zero running back has not won, although I think Fareed's team was. Let's check out Fareed's team. Fareed's team had CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra. That sounds like zero running back to me. Let's go with Christian Kirk. We're getting the band back together. Kirk and Amon-Ra. They were on BBM2 team. Come on, Fareed. Where's the squad? Jeez, bro. We got to teach Fareed how to screenshot. Where is his full team? Freed's retweeting too much crypto shit. Okay, let's do it this way. Username of Amin0801. Amin. Fine. Josh Jacobs, don't really love him, but do want to mix him in at this price. No, we want to meet. Let's go Kittle this time. Okay. Courtesy of Patrick over at bbmdb.com. This is pinned in my Discord, by the way. Link to join my Discord below. Looks like Fareed went Amon-Ra at 1, Lamb at 2, Amari Cooper at 3, Christian Watson at 4. So I don't know, four wide receivers. George Pickens at 5 wide receivers to start his draft. Grabbed the worst running back he could in Alexander Madison, a guy full faded in the 6th. So yeah, the 0 running back did win last year. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the more important things. Do you think we should judge a drafting style based on who won 4 contests? BBM 1, BBM 2, BBM 3, BBM 4? Of course not. Do you think that additionally, let's grab CJ Stroud here. Quite nice to go with Nico. Additionally, you need to think about the current climate. When I won BBM 2, almost every pick in the first round was a running back. Not the same thing anymore. Additionally, teams that have won the regular season prizes, meaning they scored the most points, have been weighted to 0 RB starts the past couple of years. Now that's descriptive, not predictive. But yeah, I think, and then the third that you have to think about the current market here where a lot of good wide receivers go up top. By the time I would say, like, I don't know, take your pick. By the time Mike Williams is off the board, Jacoby Myers, like once you get to Gabe Davis, you're like, ugh, these guys, fine. Not appealing wide receivers. Coupled with, you can get better running backs than you ever could before at cheap prices. Right? Let's go Brock Bowers today. Now let's do some your way. We won Brock. But you know, guys like James Cook is the same price he was last year, and he was a hit. He didn't really hit in touchdowns, you know. Rachaad White it's actually a little bit more expensive. But a lot of running backs either are the same price or cheaper than ever before. You can get the Saints starter in the 7th. You could get the Patriots starter in the 7th. You can get the Raiders starter in the 8th. You can get probably the Bengals starter in the 8th. You can get the Bears starter in the 8th. So we need to think about things like that rather than to assess who won 4 contests, what were their teams, to make our strategies. Will you max all 3 options? No, I just said I won't max any of these. Let's get that double stack. Stroud and Purdy to go with Nico and Kittle. Pretty fun. No comment here, okay, but appreciate it. By the way, guys, if you like this free content, please do like and subscribe to the video. I'm on the road to 5K. No, there won't be another Kyron. There won't be another Puka this year. There's going to be hits, right? Like last year, Jerome Ford was a hit. Gus Edwards was a hit. They weren't to the degree Kyron and Puka were, but there will be hits like that. Sure. Let's go with the tantalizing upside of Chase Brown. I'm just kind of mixing Brown and Moss. Some rumor account today said the Bengals could be looking to add a running back. We'll see on that. Some people think that Samaje Perine, if cut from the Broncos, could be a target, has familiarity. Brother, why do you keep asking this question? I've answered it 3 times. Sure. Let's do Big Mike. Big Mike's got downside, obviously, but he's got upside if he is the Jets' second target. No worries, DJ. No, I'm not going to max him. Any concerns with Jalen Warren and Art Smith doing Art Smith things? I draft Warren. I don't go overboard. I did, I think I was the first guy in the industry to coin him 85% Austin Eckler. Said that to Pat the year BBM3. And I drafted a lot of him his rookie year because let's do Rico this time. Because he wasn't drafted. He was an underdrafted free agent that made the team. It wasn't, no one was drafting Najee's backup that year. I had a lot of them the year after. I had a lot of them last year. There's just a lot of guys I like at his cost that has me not going overboard on Warren. And I think the Steelers have a negative run game schedule. Couple in the fact that, like, if Justin Fields is the quarterback, that could complicate things for a guy like Warren. Is he going to check it down as much? The Steelers end their playoffs with fantasy playoffs, that is, with Ravens, Eagles, and Chiefs. Like, that's not good for the Steelers. Thoughts on Chubb jumping? I went over that in depth yesterday, so I would just watch yesterday's stream, but not really actionable, in my opinion. All right, let's go Ray Davis here. An upside swing correlates with Mike Williams. I'm thinking about it after this question. If you win BBM5, we should make a pod. Raphael, brother, you're in here. My invites, whoever wins BBM5, assuming it's not me, you are invited to come on the channel. Let's check some fill rates here. 2%, 10%. Yeah, people are voting with, and what someone, I think Hayden Wink said this. He said, "Vote with your dollars. Which one's your favorite one?" Of course, the 10-second one is the one that is getting the best fill rate. We don't care about the 20-second or the 15-second ones. Some people on Twitter are trying to be like, I think 50 seconds is a happy medium. No. People are voting. They like the 10-second one. All right, let's lock up the Jets' second wide receiver. Unless it's Xavier Gibson. Probably at least going 7 running backs on this team. With the question marks of, like, what is Chase Brown? What is Rico? What is Ray? Does it matter if it's BBM or any contest? Oh, it matters, yes. Sure. Luke McCaffrey, our 7th and last wide receiver. Fits the bill as an upside bet. And now we're going to close this puppy out with 3 more running backs. Feel good enough at QB with Stroud and Purdy. Feel good enough at tight end with Kittle and Bowers. Amon-Ra, Nico, Metcalf, Kirk makes a great start at wide receiver. Mike, Corley, McCaffrey. Definitely some upside potential. And then Just going to hit a bunch of running backs here and hope a couple hit. Does the DK Millie count too? We'll think about it. Specifically, if you only win the mini Schnauzer 15-second one, sure. All right, Braylon, let's do it. Again, I'm going to release an article over at beatbestball.com where you can get my rankings for all these for drafters. Drafters rankings coming next week, but for Underdog and DraftKings currently. And the article is going to be on rarely drafted high upside picks. And, the day the contest dropped, I was drafting Braylon Allen. And it kind of shows, like who he's now risen to always be a 16th round pick. And so getting ahead of guys like that is valuable, right? Because I have ADPs from day one of the contest when you could get Keon Coleman and Ladd McConkey in the hundreds, coupled with 18th round Braylon Allen. So it's just that much more valuable to hit on the ADP risers that are good picks the earliest you can. You're going to start a pod after winning weekly winners week 7. I'm invited. Thanks, brother. I might need it by then. Let's go Roshan. He's the biggest back on the Bears. Herbert could be traded. Yes, there's downside. Could be the RB3. But ideally, he's the goal line back. He can pass block for sure, so that's going to be favorable. Do you think Bengals running backs are a take one in most draft situation, or do you have a strong lean? Yeah, I wrote that. One of the best articles I've written so far was dissecting the running backs from round 8 and after. And I wrote that in the article that I'm comfortable taking one of, if not both together, in every single draft. I hope I get to the point where I have such a casual chat that they're telling me to take CMC. We went Foreman last time. We're going Will Shipley this time. So the team ended up as Stroud and Purdy, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, Roshan Johnson, Will Shipley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, Metcalf, Kirk, Mike Williams, Malachi Corley, Luke McCaffrey, Kittle, and Bowers. So strong tight end room, strong QB room, strong wideout room. We got anchor Josh Jacobs and then a bunch of question marks that offer upside. Taking a swing at the Jets backup, taking a swing at the Bears, should be a decent team. Taking a swing at the Eagles backup. Where do these drafts show even? Where can I find these completed teams? Is anyone able to see their completed Schnauzers? Refresh page. I mean, by changing tabs, I should default do that. There they are. All right, you're right. You buying Fant's team? I think Fant is a fine late round tight end. Of course, I'm a little brand loyal to Fant. Caught 2 garbage time touchdowns to help win BBM2. Honestly, I didn't need the points, but still solidified it. But in my opinion, his ceiling is the 4th target on the Seahawks, right? I do not see him being ahead of JSN, Metcalf, or Lockett in the target order. And so it's nice that he's no longer blocked by getting on the field by Colby Parkinson and Will Shipley. But when your ceiling is roughly the fourth target, maybe he could be the third, right? Maybe that's his third. I just think there's other tight ends that are drawing live to be the second target on their offense, drawing live to be the third, drawing live to maybe even be higher than that. So he's not the biggest upside swing to me, even though he is an athletic guy. And I think you could argue his decent contingent upside, right? Like if Lockett slows a lot or JSN gets hurt or whatever, maybe they would lean on Fant a little bit more. That thing stand. He's a guy I mix in. I'm not like going out of my way to target him because I just think there's some other guys that offer better upside. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have the happiest of weekends. Possible I rip a weekend stream. That's your argument against Jalen Wright? Well, it's not the same thing at all. The Jalen Wright situation is not comparable to Noah Fant. Noah Fant plays for the Seahawks. Jalen Wright plays for the Dolphins. Noah Fant is a tight end. Jalen Wright is a running back. It's just different. But anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Possibly I rip a stream. Do join my Discord. Link to join that is below. It's free. And check out beatbestball.com. If I don't stream this weekend, I'll see you Monday. And keep an eye out for my article coming out soon. Peace out. And happy 4th of July, which is coming. That's next week. Jeez, man. You freaked me out here. Peace.